Hey everybody, today I'm going to be doing a video on AP Statistics. I haven't done this in a while. Actually, my first video on this channel was about AP Statistics. It was an FRQ. That was before I did the exam. Now I took the exam and I actually ended up getting a 5, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I'm going to talk about a topic, and specifically this is in the bivariate numerical data chapter, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's in the one about scatter plots. There's one about scatter plots and regression. That's the one that I'm referring to. I don't know the exact name, but either way, I'm going to be covering a specific topic from that, leverage and influence. So let's get right into it. So I have two graphs here. I haven't done the scatter plot yet. How about I do one right? So let's say you got a scatter plot right here. The points are kind of random. So we got a fairly strong scatter plot right here. Now, first I'm going to talk about leverage. And what leverage is basically a point that has a higher x value than the others. And something like that might be, let's say, like over here. Actually, a better point would be around here to demonstrate. So high leverage, and so let's say this is the point that I'm talking about right here. And let me use a different marker. I am sorry, guys. So I'm going to mark this point, and this is a point with high leverage. It has a higher average x value than the rest of the points. This point is kind of an exception. All the x value average is kind of over here, the range is kind of like over here, but then you got this one sort of outlier almost. I mean, obviously you can calculate, but this is pretty large. If you were to draw a line, it would actually sort of, I mean, there are a lot of points here, so it wouldn't change that much. But if there were fewer points, maybe there were only 3 points on this line. Let's say it's only this point, and this point, and then this point. Your regression line might look something like this, but in this case, it would still look decently close to the original line. But here, in the second example that I gave, that one that I just did verbally, it might be a bit closer to this dot because of its high leverage. It might push and reduce the slope. So that's one thing that leverage could do. This is a point that we would say has high leverage. A point with low leverage might be a point like any one of these along here. Maybe not this one. You can debate that one, and that's based on what you consider high leverage or low leverage. Sorry about that. Somebody's printing something, but we have these points right here, and they have pretty high leverage. So, low leverage. I'm so sorry, low leverage. Now I'm going to draw another scatter plot right here, and I'm going to draw this one, let's say, kind of like this. Also, keep in mind, if you take the average of the y's, this is about average, so even though its y value is about the average of the rest of them, it still can affect this graph to a degree. And imagine if it was maybe further out. So now we're going to talk about influence. That's enough about leverage. So influence is basically the same thing with leverage, except for the y. So if the y average is really high, something like, let's say over here, and I'm going to mark this one in blue. This is going to be our high influence point. And what this point will do, it's a high y. And for some of you who have heard the term residual, which you might have by now, you'll know that this means that this point has a high residual. And sometimes these points can have a high residual as well, high leverage points. But usually you see the high influence points. You see high And by the way, a point can have a high leverage and a high influence. So, sorry guys for the noise in the background. And I'll just draw a few more points there. But you can see, like, let's imagine that we didn't have this blue point here. The scatter plot would be fairly easy. It would be fairly easy to draw a line of best fit. But it might be a bit harder now. I mean, you can try to guess what it would look like. Something like that, maybe, if you were to take this point into consideration. And this, I am so sorry, guys. My sister's yelling in the background. It's quite exceptional. But here you have two lines right here, and this line, you know, yeah. So based on that, you guys can tell what leverage and influence is. Influence is where it's a high Y value compared to the average, and the leverage, it is a relatively lower. Sorry, it's a bigger change in the X. So that's what leverage and influence is. I hope that gave you a pretty basic understanding. Usually, I noticed when I took the AP exam for statistics this year, I took it in 2020, keep in mind. So this was a topic on the 2020 exam, so I don't recall it showing up on the exam. So I'm not guessing that it's a big topic, and I haven't really seen much of this when I did AP FRQ practice. So I don't think this is too big, but it is something good to know because it is a topic that could show up on the exam, and maybe it'll show up in a major way. Who knows? Either way, guys, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. And thanks for watching, and be sure to look out for the next video.